Hello, my name is Joe Esposito from Owasso, Oklahoma. We're up in Jay, Oklahoma today. We're at Dr. George Kendall's home. He got his smart meter this last April, and that's when all of his problems really began. I've brought my gigahertz meter with me today. I've been up here a month or two ago, and we did readings, and I was showing Dr. Kendall how bad the radiation is. The radiation is right here on this pole. It's Northeastern Oklahoma Electric. You can see Dr. Kendall was very concerned about the radiation, so he tried to block it. He built some metal panels around the meter, which really wasn't sufficient, so then he parked his horse trailer here. The horse trailer has metal sheeting inside, blocking the radiation. And then if we pan over towards the house, he's also got aluminum screen wire, which is kind of a universal blocker. And that window, the second window, the first window is the restroom, and the other one's the bedroom. And the radiation was coming right through, that pole's about 30 feet from the house, was coming right through the walls into his bedroom and radiating his bedroom. If I recall correctly, it was around 30 to 40 microwatts per meter squared, which is still quite a bit. And so today we've come back to see how his remediation has been since he parked his horse trailer here. None of these things were here except maybe there was a wood box, I think, around the meter the first time with a sheet of lead. And now he's done a lot more extensive work to try to stop the radiation. And so we're standing here out in the country, and the sources of radiation it's about, you can see on the meter right now it's like 0.5 or 0.7, which is pretty good. The meter just pulsed over here just now. It went up a little bit. And then he has a control out here, which he has a very nice metal barn here back to my left. And metal barns are very safe. They're 0.1. The meter just pulsed. So we're going to go over to the meter. We're going to open it up and show you the density, pulsing the radiation levels with it opened, and then we're going to close it back up, and then we're going to go into the bedroom, and we're going to show you that we've totally blocked it. But look at all the things this member of Northeastern Co-ops had to do to block this radiation, because none of it's safe. Jerry Flynn will tell you that, the microwave radiation expert, 26 years in the military, came out of retirement trying to tell people. Okay, so we're going to go over now and read. This is good readings for the country. It's blocking. So now we're going to go over here and read this. Okay, here we are at the meter now. See, it's 0.2. There, it just transmitted. It went to 86, and that's through this metal. I mean, he's got bolts and washers and all this. So now we're going to open it up, and I'm going to get fried a little. Okay, he's got a piece of aluminum foil over this thing. And you can see it's Northeastern Oklahoma Electrical Co-op right down here. This is a 3-watt meter, and it even talks, it's got a Zigbee. Remember, there's 2 transmitters, a 900 megahertz and the Zigbee. Okay, there, it just pegged the meter at over 200. So now we're going to go to 2,000, and you can watch it pulse. In a court of law, they said these things go off 14 to 190,000 times a day. That's a lot of radiation, and they're microburst pulse. They try to average, there it went. Okay, now see, it just pegged the meter to the left, which means it went over 2,000. So I'm going to step away and put the attenuator on so my brain doesn't get fried. Just a minute, right back. Okay, we're back over here now, and I stepped over off the way, and we have an attenuator on here, and now I can read up to 200,000 microwatts per meter squared. So that's what we're doing at the moment. We've been here a few seconds or minutes, and the highest we read was like 55,000 microwatts per meter squared. You can watch the meter reading. If it was going to go over 200,000, that was 27,000 just then. But if it was going to go over 200,000, you'd see a 1 over here, which means the meter can't read any higher. But the high we've gotten since we've been standing here is like 55,000 microwatts. And you can see, they tried to tell us they only go off like, 6 or 8 times a day. In a court of law, they said 14 to 190,000. And so you can actually watch and time it almost. The microbursts are much, much quicker. There it went. There was 49, so that was 49,000 microwatts per meter squared just then. I don't have there was 22, 25 just then. So it's going off every several seconds. It's not 4 or 5 times a day. And so they're constantly transmitting. So now this is a switching mode power supply. It also causes dirty electricity in people's homes. And dirty electricity causes lots of health problems also. There's 2 transmitters. There went 39 or 38. There's 2 transmitters. There's a 900 megahertz and a 2.4 gigahertz, which is a Zigbee. And they say Zigbee right there. And what that means is they're going to have all your appliances Energy Stars, and they're going to have a Zigbee chip, and they're going to be transmitting back and forth all day long with your smart meter, and they're going to have what they call granular data. There went 189, that'd be 18,000. They're going to know every few seconds of what's running in your house, what you're doing in your house, who's in the house, if you're home, you're not home. And not only will the utility know this, but so will all the crooks and the criminals. So they'll know exactly when to come to your home and rob you with all this. Okay, so now I'm going to take off the attenuator, but I'm going to step back out of the way a minute. And then we're going to start closing it up, and then we're going to show you what this George has had to do to protect his house. And, you know, why would a member of Northeastern Oklahoma Electrical Co-op have to spend all this money and time to protect themselves from something that's causing health damages? And George is going to tell us a little later, everything began basically when this meter went on the house. And in their service letter that they sent out, they were doing equipment repair, I think was the term. And they didn't tell anybody they were going to be putting smart meters on. And that's been the whole system. The whole system's doing that. They're not telling the public. And last I looked, it's not even on their website. They're putting smart meters on. And you know, the CDC just came out within the last 2 days saying how dangerous this radiation is. The New American magazine just came out talking about this whole thing. There's a court case in the District of Columbia right now for the first time getting to tell the story about the radiation in the cell phones. And you know, the utilities talk about how these are no worse than cell phones. Well, that's getting ready to blow up too. I think the wheels are coming off the vehicle here. There's a lot of things happening right now that I've never seen happen in 2 years. I've been doing this 2 years, $1,000 meter. I'm going to step off to the side here for a few minutes now. Okay, now we're back over with the attenuator off. We're back on the 200 microwatts. Remember, the reading is really good here, 0.3, 0.2. Oh, there it went. It just pegged the meter just then over 200. So now we're going to put it back together. I guess the aluminum foil works, but since we have the meter, I guess we'll just show you what it does. Okay, so we got maybe 10 layers of aluminum foil over it. Okay, it's still pegged at over 200, so I guess the aluminum foil's not doing much. Now we're going to close this. Here's lead. This is lead here, and then this is sheet metal on the outside.
And the inside it will lead too.
Yeah, is lead on the inside, right?
Lead plus sheet metal.
Lead plus sheet metal on the inside. Sheet metal out here. Now let's look. See, we're back down to 3 or 4 microwatts per meter squared. Now let's see if it comes through that. Remember, they go off 14 to 190,000 times a day. Earlier we checked, I think we were at 100. Okay, there, it pegged. Did you see it pegged the meter over 200 just then? And then it went to 53. Let's do one more and just make sure. You got to be patient with these things. There it went. Okay, that went over 200 microwatts just then. So now we're going to go on the other side of this trailer, horse trailer, okay, metal horse trailer. We're going to go over here, and he's got metal sheeting. This is just going to show them the metal sheeting so they don't think we're doing a hocus pocus on them here. let's come in here, and you look along this wall here, and there's the metal sheeting. See, it's along that wall. Okay, and so that's on the meter side of the trailer. So that's gonna protect us. Now I'm gonna step up here on the porch now, and remember, it just pegged the meter at over 200 microwatts. So I'm gonna stand right here. The pole is right there. I'm going to stand right here. You want to come up and read this so you can see it? Okay, so we're standing here now, and see we're back to 0.2, 0.4, and that's safe. That's really good. Remember, a woman that's sleeping in a bedroom that's pregnant, and it's over 5 microwatts. Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt said he could probably predict, or he could kind of let you know what the chances are of autism with over 5 microwatts. The Bioinitiative report, 1,479 pages, is telling us that sperm damage is 3.4. Now you notice it's never transmitted now, because there's nothing out here transmitting other than if somebody had a cell phone on them that would cause it to transmit. So see, it's 0.3, 0.2, which is very good. If we walk inside that barn over there, the metal building, it's 0.1. I tell George I'll come and spend the night anytime at his house, because it's very safe up here. It's a lot safer where I live, if you've seen my 5 YouTubes, and I'm getting fried where I live. Okay, so here we are. It hasn't pulsed. You can see that. So George has had to invest all this time and money to do this, and now he's even put aluminum screen wire on his house behind us. That's the universal blocker. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go in his bedroom, and we're going to show you the readings in his bedroom that before were dangerous but are now safe. Okay, so we're going to go in the bedroom. Okay, now we're inside the George's bedroom. We're 30 feet or so from the smart meter. See, there's the horse trailer right there, and there's the pole on the other side of the horse trailer. And we have our meter in here, and it's reading 0.1. The volume's all the way up. It's on 200 microwatts per meter squared. And see, it's very safe now, 0.1. Whereas before, we were reading maybe 30 to 40 microwatts pulsing, and it would come right through the house, right through the windows, right into the bedroom. And that's very damaging, because your bedroom has to be very safe at night so that your melatonin and this being secreted from your pineal gland will fix all the damages that has happened during the day. So we're just showing you now how safe it is in the house. There's no pulsing going on. And why does the customer have to be exposed to all this dangerous radiation, health problems, and George is going to address that, and have to spend putting aluminum screen wire against his house, the trailer with metal sheeting in it, and all the work he did with lead and metal around that box to protect his family. And it's just this little area being protected. It's not the greater area or the routers out there that are in contact. The routers, I think, are covering 5 square miles. Then there's the collectors that are pulsing 125 square miles or 130 square miles. And so we got all this radiation for what's the purpose? Again, if you look at the CDC document that just came out, it's scolding the FCC for not changing their rules in 29 years.
The FCC,
Yeah, in 29 years. Okay? And they're telling you the seriousness of all this. Okay? So now we're going to turn it off, and we're going to go into George's kitchen, and we're going to tell you what we found out in there. Okay, we're now in the kitchen, and this is George, Dr. George Kindle. He's having the problem with these new smart meters. I call them spy smart meters. And the reason I say that is the CIA director, David Petraeus, said your dishwasher will spy on you. Even the New American article said that also, so I was encouraged. So we're in the kitchen, and if you notice, the meter is 0.1 again, 0.2, which is very safe. And see, it's not pulsing anymore like it did before. George put all this protection between him and the meter. because of the radiation levels were so high. And so he has these tingling sensations and feelings all over his body, different times in different places. So we were trying to figure out that a little bit. And so you remember those are switching, the smart meters are switching mode power supplies. It's picking DC off an AC line. And there, every time the meters are transmitting, like at 2.4 gigahertz, it produces 4.8 billion cycles a second, or the other one's 900 million cycles a second. So it's putting dirty electricity into the house. So George is having these tingling sensations. So what we did is brought our 4-foot high aluminum screen wire and we put it around them and put it over the top of them. And his symptoms seemed to fix after that. And then also what we did is we turned the power off to the house, and then we went out to the meter and turned off the power below the smart meter to stop the dirty electricity out there to see which was affecting him the most. And I think we found that there's also another radiation problem out here in the country which most people are experiencing. It's called 5.5 gigahertz, and they're blasting that radiation because people don't have a cabled, wired internet. They go to this wireless. And so now they're blasting 5.5 gigahertz on everybody. And so that's what I was thinking was affecting George. So we caged him and covered him. And remember, the aluminum screen wire is like a universal blocker for this radiation. As my understanding, I think 10 gigahertz is the wave is an inch and maybe a tenth or so. And so when he was in the cage, he got better. And so that was very important. So he's just being so overwhelmed with all this radiation, particularly the smart meter coming into his home up to 190,000 times a day. That meter reading was around 55,000 microwatts. In my house, I have a 3-watt PSO meter, and it's over 200,000 microwatts. So it just depends where you read, and that's why you have meters, is to read those things. So we need to get the meter taken off George's property, his house. He doesn't want dirty electricity. He doesn't want a smart meter. He doesn't want his family radiated in all this property. Why is he having to suffer all this damage just because we don't have a meter reader now? I think, and so I would think the utility, I guess, ought to be liable for what's happening here and causing all this damage. I mean, do they want to pay the doctor bills? And so maybe George would like to tell us what happened to him since he's had this meter installed that Northeastern Electric didn't tell him they were going to install, or they're really not telling anybody they're installing. So why don't we hear from George a minute what he thinks.
Well, I was sent a letter from REC telling me that they were going to be in the area and they would install a surge protector, which they've been promoting for a couple of years, and out there on the meter pole. And the fee for the surge protector was to be $5 a month, but they were supposed to have an installation fee of like $25. They sent a letter and said, well, we're going to waive the installation fee. We're going to be in the area doing maintenance, so we'll waive that. So I told them, okay, bring the surge protector. And they brought that, and when they got through, they had installed a smart meter, which I wouldn't have let them install otherwise because I knew about them.
Right.
And so they hoaxed me on that deal, and under false pretenses, and they stole that thing on April the 7th.
Okay.
Less than 2 weeks, well, immediately after that, I started having a twitching in my facial muscles and back muscles. At the time, I was wearing a life vest because I had heart surgery January the 8th, and that's a portable defibrillator. And I thought it was shocking me. So I started calling the cardiologist. They kept saying, no, it's probably not doing that. Finally, they sent a nurse with a new unit, put that on me, and it still kept going on. So then we decided it's not the life vest. So then I went, but in the meantime, before we took the life vest off, on 2 weeks after it started twitching, I was in the doctor's office at Grove to see what they could do about the twitching. They put me on Flexeril, which is a muscle relaxant. They have no idea what's causing it. And I've taken that off and on for considerable period of time, even up to date. I called Larry Cisneros and requested that the meter be exchanged back after I found out what was going on, and he assured me that that wasn't going to happen. So that's where that thing stood, but fortunately Joe Esposito came and checked out the meter out here and showed us how much that thing was pulsing and how many microwatts we were getting in the house. And he said, well, we're getting practically none in the barn, which is close as the house is to the meter. And he said, you need to just start living in the barn. Well, when you're going to trouble to build a decent house, you really don't like the thought of having to move into the barn. But anyhow, he said the metal in the barn blocks this pulsing and radiation from the smart meter. So immediately I had a box I put up around the meter lined with lead. It didn't do anything. Then I put sheet metal over the lead inside and out and covered that and parked a big stock trailer between the meter and my bedroom, which is only about 30 feet. Had metal inside it, and then put up some aluminum screen wire across the windows and inside the house of the bedroom and the bathroom, which is close to the meter. And so Joe came today and read how much is getting into the house, which is considerably reduced, which I'm sure he told you about. But after I started having that twitching, which continues to this day, at the same time after the meter was installed, my wife, growth started growing here over her thyroid gland. She went to the doctors and they said, oh, it's probably your thyroid. Kept telling her to change her thyroid medication and whatnot. Finally, they decided in the month of July that they take a biopsy out of it, and she's been diagnosed with lymphoma. That thing didn't come there until after the smart meter was installed.
Right.
So at this moment, I'm a veterinarian. I know a little bit about a few things in medicine, and I believe that the twitching is caused by the smart meter. I believe that the lymphoma in wife was caused by the smart meter.
Right.
And for a company that says they're all about their patrons, this doesn't seem fair to put something on the meter that's killing us off.
That's right. Well, and remember now, you know, we have lots of military documents, and we have a 1972 Navy military document, 2,300 studies on 106 pages, and there's 5 pages of health symptoms. And so we're trying to tell people that they've never been told this. The utilities aren't telling them. They're just not being told anywhere that what's happening to us. There's a Jerry Flynn, 26-year microwave radiation warfare veteran. He's come out of retirement. He's got a 422 PowerPoint slide. They go back to 1932. The Germans said this was microwave sickness, and they knew it all the way back to them. So this has been going on all this time. So people just haven't been told. They don't know. They don't know George's got a microwave oven right there that I can read with my meter, and I can walk around the back side of it and go all the way down that hall and still read it. And so people just don't know what this radiation is causing, like your portable deck phones in your home. They're very dangerous. Baby monitors, your Wi-Fi's. You can do all this, but you just have to wire things. But people have become very accustomed, you know, to their conveniences. Well, you look at the CDC that just came out, and they're telling people that you have to start limiting this microwave or radio frequency radiation. It's the same as microwaves, because it's damaging to our health. But they were just, I think, trying to cover what they were worried about, because we've known this. We have scientific studies. We have documents. We've been before the Oklahoma Corporation Commission for 18 months with Sherry Lamb's case. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission has done nothing. The state legislature has done nothing. I started bringing documents to them January the 8th, 2013. They haven't done anything. Neither has the Corporation Commission. So this is the result, I'm sorry to say, what's happening, and it's going on all over where they're putting smart meters in. I had health symptoms. I've got 5 YouTubes up. You can look at that. But the trouble is that people are not being told that this stuff is causing health symptoms. And so they think their health issues are another issue, not from this. And I'd say a vast majority of the health issues are nothing more than this mass of radiation, and there's multi-sources. But when they put a smart meter on your home or right next to your home, Like we went to Miami a couple Saturdays ago. There's a smart meter on a trailer house 8 inches from the wall, and the lady sleeps on the other side of that wall. And we don't have the time to tell you all the stories, but it's causing health problems. And so thank you very much for listening to us today. And thank George for letting us come and work with him. And we're hopeful there'll be some remedies made here. And so thank you for your time.